Welcome back. All right, so again, we got some news coming in because we're getting closer to training camp. But you can tell that there's a slow period because we're at Christmas time, and yet training camp is getting really close. So watch for more signings to take place. There may be less buzz because a lot of reporters are probably spending this week with families and they may even have their phones, I'm not going to say turned off, but at the very least running silent, right? So Craig Anderson signs a professional tryout contract with the Washington Capitals. This is one of those maybes. Like he probably ends up with a contract. I think we'll see a lot of goalies get contracts over the next few days because of the carrying three goaltenders rule. They also called up Zach Fucale. Now, what's interesting is they called up Zach Fucale before they signed Anderson. Now, they may carry three goalies on their roster and then have Fucale on the taxi squad. And of course, if you're a Habs fan, you remember that name well, right? So look for guys to get signed. There'll probably be more tryouts than usual because we've got a flat cap and because, we're in this whole new world right now. And so Anderson may very well be an insurance policy. I still think Samsonov's your starter, Vanacek's the backup, and Anderson may be the insurance policy just in case. The Bruins are apparently, and this is from David Pagnotta, who's also reporting that Justin Abdelkader and Trevor Lewis are gaining a lot of interest. He's reporting the Bruins are right now the front runner to sign Ben Hutton. Now, Hutton had a decent year for LA, and again, he's a third pairing defenseman. As long as you don't overplay him, he's a decent guy. And so he may end up in Boston, which is a little bit sad for me because I was kind of hoping maybe Vancouver would, on a decent contract, I wouldn't mind seeing Hutton back in Vancouver, but understandable. And if Boston picks him up, again, it's about adding depth on the Boston blue line. One that, without Chara and having lost Krug, I do have concerns about the depth on the Boston blue line. Now, we talked about the Derek Stepan trade. Keep in mind that this may very well be delayed. His agents also let people know, hey, by the way, there's the impending birth of his first child. And so with the impending birth of a child, that means that he will likely be delayed. But of course, you have a 14-day quarantine entering Canada anyways. So he may not be with Ottawa on the opening night roster, may come in a bit later. And again, the Senators only have to pay him $2 million, and they're looking at him as a veteran to help mentor the young players and to play some special teams and just generally to help prop things up. And it's the kind of signing that I said Ottawa was going to need, not just for this year, but beyond. You can't just have all these young kids. You've got to have veterans sprinkled into that lineup to help lead them along. So, good pickup, even if he's not starting the game with the team. Now, the big news, if you're following the World Juniors, is kind of big news, but kind of sort of not. I'll say why. So, Braden Schneider gets suspended one game for the head hit yesterday. Now, for people waiting to see what's going to happen with the other head hit from the U.S. game last night, nothing announced yet, but the U.S. doesn't play until tomorrow. So the IIHF doesn't really have to announce anything yet. They had to announce the Schneider suspension because the Canadian team plays in about an hour's time. So, yeah, for Schneider, he knew it was going to end up being a suspension, and he accepts that, and he knows that he took the wrong angle on the hit, and so he's accepting of the one-game suspension. He's not at the NHL level yet. You're supposed to be a little bit more against this and a little more, well, no, it wasn't really, and your coach and your GM are supposed to come out and, you know how that works in the NHL. No coach will ever say, yeah, no, he should be suspended for that. When their player does something, and on the other team, it's never, I don't think that's a big deal. It's almost never, I don't think that was a big deal. But yeah, so Schneider's out. We'll see if that affects Canada. They're against Slovakia, so this is where it's interesting. Where you might want to argue, okay, so Schneider does something against Germany, now they're playing against Slovakia. They're very likely to win that game, and it'd be a shocker if they didn't. So should the suspension be for the game against Finland? And I don't know how you do that, but my point is simple. For Schneider to miss this game, it really doesn't necessarily impact either the player or the team. So we'll see. But of course, this does mean he's got the one-game suspension on his record now, so if something happens later in the tournament, that can be far more disastrous. So we'll see. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.